they're saying.
Okay, I just read it. Flavel. Got it. Nice to meet you, Flavel. I'm Frankie. Nice to meet you.
Community. There we go. Community building.
Nice to meet you, Frankie.
I hope your guys' reception is better than mine. I feel like I'm like half cutting out and I can't really hear anybody. But I hope this goes well. It'll go well. All right, you guys. Today I'm just going to talk about a few things that are the basics and the core of like my life. Meditation, prayer is something that's a very regular practice for me. And it's something that growing up, I didn't see many beautiful examples of that I feel like I had in the back of my mind. Like I want it to be like this, but it wasn't ever shown to me an example. So I had to find different ways to practice it through my life as I've kind of gained more responsibility and ownership of the life I want to live and I want to create. So for me, my dream was to have like, like in monasteries and cathedrals, how they have like prayer where it reverberates through the entire room and you can feel just from the sound of people's voices, singing, praying, whatever. There's like a prayer that's written or read. There's a feeling in the body that resonates that humans are literally wired to experience in that way. And that's why we are created in communities. That's why we're created in tribes. That's why we're created around family. For me, the core of prayer, the core center value of prayer for me was with my family. Every evening we would pray together. So that was like a ritual built in from a very young age. But other than that, it was a lot of my prayer and meditation and visualization practices have been self-guided and self-molded. And so finding people that I respected and saw how they led their lives and not in particular sharing to me how they meditate or whatever, but seeing them like there's something very distinct and special about this person. They're dialed in and focused like nobody else I know or that I can see. And there's a certain quietness and presence about them no matter what they're doing that is so distinct about that from everybody else that I see. So one of the first things I want to take us through is a little 5 minute breath work meditation session. So if you guys are all ready and comfortable for that, settle into your seats or stand wherever you're doing. And grab an oil if you actually have one. That would be amazing. But it's just going to add to the experience. We're just going to bring awareness to the body and figure out where your breath is. And I want to show you how your breath can regulate every system and every organ in your body. And if you guys are ready, we'll start. So you can close your eyes, you can leave them open, up to you. So we begin, just going to take a few deep breaths through your chest. And as you inhale, I want you to think about the tension you have stored up here and relax your back as you exhale. Take a few deep breaths, thinking about the tension in your chest and in your shoulders. Breathe up into it and relax and open, releasing that tension through your exhale. Push your lungs up into the inhale and exhale, drop your shoulders. Now I want you to think about the next few breaths that you take. Imagine them massaging every organ in your body, from your lungs to your stomach to all of the organs in the center of your body. As you inhale, think about pushing that breath down. And as you exhale, release all the tension that you feel in the center of your body. As I'm inhaling, I'm feeling the breath push deeper into the core, closer to my belly button. I'm feeling the breath being pushed down. And as I exhale, I feel that tension leaving. Now, I want you to think about the tension that's stored in your hips, your pelvic floor. It's directly connected to your shoulders. So as you inhale, I want you to think and breathe into the very base of your body. Sending oxygen into every cell from the top of your body down to the very base. Now I want you to bring your breath back up to your chest and open your heart as you breathe in and feel the openness that you now have in your chest as you inhale. And how relaxed you feel when you exhale. In less than 5 minutes, we change the entire cadence of your body, where tension is stored, and how your breath moves through your body. Take a few more deep breaths here. Notice the openness in your shoulders. Notice the openness in your hips, how that translated from the bottom of the body, moving up. Come back to us on the call. And welcome back to our little chat. How did that feel, you guys?
Very relaxing.
Interesting.
I feel like I need to go to bed. But no,
That
very,
was
very at ease, very loose.
that was awesome. Thank you. That was great. I used lavender for mine.
Nice.
That was awesome. This was the best meditation ever. I'm gonna be.
You're in the best location.
You are literally nature, oils, everything.
This is crazy. This water's so blue, but I won't be distracted. Get back to class.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm going to touch on a few things that is going to give us a better understanding of why having presence in the body, presence from the top, people call it chakra systems, but because that's a little bit woo-woo and esoteric, we can call it energy points of the body. Literally, it's all stored in the center of your body. And I'm not going to get crazy into that because it's not my field, but I know that there's a certain power that lies in the center of our bodies, from the top of our head to the base of our hips, where our pelvic floor is. There's so much power contained in this place that when we bring awareness and breath into silence, so like if I wasn't even speaking, you just knew that rhythm of, okay, breathe here, breathe in the stomach, breathe in the hips, and then bring that breath right back up. You would notice that change even when it's silent, how your body would just expand and relax and open, and how clearly you think right after. It's a beautiful way to bring mindfulness to where is tension stored in the body. That's a beautiful element of meditation that I find I don't quite access when I'm praying. So meditation is something that I use when I need silence and need to bring awareness to my body to regulate systems that feel crazy and out of balance. Um, and this is something that is powerful to implement on a daily basis because it gives us a place to check in with the body that we live in every day, to bring the mind back into connection with the body, because this is not separate. This is all one being. And meditation is a beautiful way to connect us to that. So it's our little check-in point. Like you have a best friend that you check in every once in a while. You have yourself that you have to check in. And I find that sitting in silence, having a breath work practice, having a meditation, noticing the first thought that comes into your mind after you sit in silence can be the first step to finding clarity in something. And we know that our thoughts, if they're not processed, they're stored in the body, or our emotions, our feelings. If they're not processed, they're going to be stored in some place in the body. So breath and a practice like what we just did is a great way for us to navigate where is tension stored, what thoughts are coming up as a product of that tension, or me pushing into that tension with my breath. We're such powerful beings when we learn to use the potency of our breath to navigate every corner of our body. So moving on, let's jump into visualization, because that's something that actually combines prayer. Prayer I kind of touched on in the beginning. Prayer for me was praying in the evening with my family, having my parents kind of guide us through that, and us being responsible. What do I want in my life? And kind of speaking on that. So now it's like for me, visualizing, I have my whole, actually set myself up exactly for this reason. I have my whole vision board wall right behind me, because for me, it's really valuable to see what do I want in my life. I also practice that vision when I see it. I'm like, oh, I know exactly where this is being practiced in my life. I know where I'm doing my bodybuilding training. I know where I'm helping people regulate their bodies to their maximum genetic potential. So all of these things, like for me, it's written on my board. I'm creating community with people and bringing them to the highest level of their operation and health practices. It's exactly what we're doing in this community. So it's something that's visual for me that I get to put into practice every single day. And that affirms to me that I'm on the right track. So it's a visual representation of the dream and the vision I have within me. So meditation is something that can bring clarity to that. Prayer is something that can bring clarity to that. Um, and prayer is something that I don't know any of the religious position of anybody on this call, but I will speak on my own behalf. Prayer is something that I use as a guidepost for myself in times when I had a lot of grief, when I had a lot of pain and sorrow, and in times when I started to practice gratitude more within my own prayers. So, prayers unto the Father who created me. I use the beginning of my prayer time that I devoted to pray first about the things that I'm grateful for, and then follow those things up with what I want to see in my life. And that was a huge shift in my actual demeanor of like how I behave with people, how I approach like being happy, all of these things of like positive emotions versus a time in my life when I was upset with a lot of things and complaining to God that these are the things that I'm upset with and frustrated with. I'm going to talk about these things to God because nobody else wants to listen, right? When we approach the prayer structure with something of gratitude and follow up with things that we want to see in the future, it not only affirms something in your body and in your mind and in your reality around you, um, it changes the way that you respond, that you see the things that are coming to you. When the Father blesses you and brings things into your life, or however you see the world around you, when He brings things into your life, you see it through a lens of gratitude, and you say, oh, I'm so grateful for this because look at this. My dream portion of my prayer just became the gratitude portion of my prayer because I now have it. And so now that dream can expand to the next step. And that's where that visualization comes in, because you know the path that you're on. You know what's coming up next. Okay, now this is the next step. God, help me fulfill the how, because I don't want to worry about that. I just know what I want to do. I spoke with Michael earlier this week about, guys, it was so crazy. This week when we decided that we're going to have prayer, meditation, and visualization as our topic, the whole week was people coming up to us and talking to us about prayer and meditation and visualization the whole time.
It
It
was crazy.
it was insane. I didn't believe it. Did he just get kicked out? I think he did. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And every single audio version of something that we would listen to didn't quite hit like our real connection with people did. And so it was beautiful. But that being said, when you put an intention, we made a very clear distinction. Like the the night after, so Monday night, right after our last week's call, we decided we're going to talk about prayer, meditation, visualization. When you create an
Yeah.
exact picture of what you want to talk about, like literally sends it to you like nothing else. I can literally can't explain that like at all, because we
Yeah.
both experienced the same thing and we're like, what is happening? we
Yeah.
we when you get really, really clear, I think I think God organizes things to conspire in your favor. Michael, do you want to drop in on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I just want to say something. I hope I stay on the call without popping out. Can you all still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it was crazy because it happened to both of us. But I don't think it's by mistake. But real quick, and then we'll kind of move on. But there is a verse, Matthew 7:7, and I'll just read it for you real quick. Um, Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. So, and then it goes on a little more, but it's just pretty much saying, I think, whatever you want to call it, getting clear about your intentions and what you want to do and seeking your creator um, is a beautiful thing, and it's very like normal. I think we all crave it, and so seeking that um, is a very good thing to do. And there's a lot of clarity that we talked about as well, and I think Gemma can go into that a little more. But clarity is a huge thing that is normally a huge blessing when you can really get clear on something and ask and pray and really say, hey, like I don't know the answer, but and just admitting that you don't have it all figured out, because I don't think any of us really do. Um, and
Yeah.
just admitting like, hey, I don't have it all figured out, but I would like to, I would like to seek your guidance, and asking for his guidance. And so I think prayer is awesome. So
Yeah. I love it. I'll say this. Spending time, I just wrote this down, but I think this delivers the concept really concisely for us, for what we've been talking about. And I love that Michael's in nature. I want to get some kind of place outside that I can sit so I can have these calls in nature because it contributes to our experience so much. And because everything we're talking about is to align the body. And there's no better place to do that than when we're in nature. Spending time in nature while meditating infuses the resonance of creation. Silence and focus on breath brings attention to your being and attunement to your mind and body. So if we could like think about that for a second, the way that nature, like trees don't talk. They don't verbally go around and do things. They're just standing there, and because of the nutrients from the soil and the sunlight from the sun, they're just growing and producing and creating a natural environment for humans, for us to like super evolve and create and grow and live our lives as a blessing, as a contribution to the world. So when we can choose to spend time outside and meditate outside and to just spend time in silence, our body aligns to the rhythms of nature and we begin to grow at a rate that we wouldn't otherwise have access to. And that's a beauty. It brings your body into attunement with nature, and your mind and your body is just like it'll click into place like so quickly and easily. It's amazing. Visualization, though, you guys, visualization is your body hearing everything your mind is saying. And so the reason that matters so much, the reason I'm really, really, really picky about what I have on my vision board is because everything my eyes see, I'm starting to think about. And everything I'm thinking about is starting to program into my body as that's the life I'm going to live, or that's the things I'm going to experience. These are the friends I'm going to have. This is the community I'm going to create. I'm believing it because I'm seeing it. And I'm really intentional about programming my mind to the things I want to experience in my life. And I think it's also deeply connected with like what is your soul, your spirit, your individual human experience? What's your contribution to humanity through this entire lifetime? Your time in prayer and silence and time in nature, all of those things contribute to attunement of what you're actually supposed to do here on earth. And when we become clear on that through practices of meditation and silence or whatever you choose to do, it is a natural guiding point of what does it's the attunement to the spirit, like the scripture speaks of. Being attuned to the spirit is spending time in nature, is spending time in silence. Um, and then to distill the insights that come to you while you're in silence, it brings a practice of reverence, of solitude, of space, of definition, of release. And as those things come into your experience, consider the first thought that comes into your mind. One of my favorite things to go back to, uh, that I got from someone who doesn't even like verbally say that he practices meditation. He's like, stare at a wall until you have no more thoughts, and then consider the first thought that comes into your mind. I'm like, that's like crazy. I'm not gonna do that. Like, I can't just stare at a wall. But when I go out to nature, like nature takes you away. Like you just spin off into a billion different stories for your mind. Consider the first thought that comes into your mind, because that's the one that your unconscious is bringing forward, and that's the one that you now have to generate and create with. So right after last week's call, Michael and I got on a call and we're like, we got to do a call about meditation. Like that there is no other option. It was just our both first most agreed upon topic. And when we both agreed upon that, literally the whole week planned itself out. It was crazy. And it is a testament to that idea of being clear on what you want to create. The first thought that comes into your mind when you're in a practice of being clear, the first thought that comes into your mind, act upon, digest that thought, and see what comes out of it. So that's all I have to say. I want to hear about all of your guys' meditation, visualization, prayer practices, and how that feels for you guys right now. And if you guys want to change that, what you guys' thoughts are about it. I want to hear it.
Okay, since nobody's
I
going
just wanted to
first,
give one. Oh,
guys, can I
you go
say something
first.
quick? Hey, Frankie.
Yeah, you're good. Hi.
Hey, quick. So, two things I want to say. The fact that you guys are talking about this at your age is so powerful. When I was like 18, whatever, 20s, I'd go to church with my parents because I was made to, right? And you have to pray because otherwise you're going to hell. So when the way that Gemma just presented this, that you are going to do this meditation and prayer for you instead of for a pastor or for a leader or for because the Bible says so, right? But it's coming from a perspective of like the peace and the calm. I'm like, I wish I would have known that when I was like 20. The fact that I'm not doing it for somebody else. I'm literally doing this for myself, and especially like connecting to like you're in nature and like you're what was the first thought that comes to your mind? This is so good.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. That was so kind.
Let's hear it. Go ahead.
All right. I just had a quick thought about visualization. You gave a great description of it. And when I personally ask kind of what we do, something that I will do is when I'm visualizing, I will get so lost in my thoughts. I'll close my eyes and get so internal until that thought that I'm thinking about, whatever I'm trying to manifest into my life. Maybe I want a certain promotion at work or something like that, right? Anything, insert whatever you want in your life, right? And you just entertain that thought until it becomes more real up here than it is externally, right? So you can't take that away from you when you're out in public, when you're out in interacting with other people and other energies that are maybe trying to, sabotage you or sabotage your vision, right? So having it not only on your vision board, Gemma, like you said, but just having it up here and having it so real up in your mind that it's like a steel trap. No one can get in there, right? Because it's yours. So that's what I do when I visualize. I'll lay in my bed before I go to bed, and I'll just entertain the thought, and it's like it's actually happening. I picture myself doing that action. So
That's more real than any opposing thought. And so the concept is it became fact in your mind. And so reality has to follow suit. My friend actually made a mathematical formula. It is way beyond my mind's conception. I don't do math like that. But it's he laid out in a formula when we entertain thoughts that are not yet reality, we are taking control of substance that has not taken form yet. And we are deciding with our mind what that substance is going to be. And so that's like the ultimate position of being creator of your life. We know who our creator is, so we are like super juiced with power to create in our own lives, especially when we have his blessing and authority to act upon the things we want. But I think what we're lacking at large in today's culture, which I would think would be beautiful, even if just the 6 people, 7 people on this call began to practice this, the super creative ability you have as an individual to mold your reality because of the thoughts you can create as fact in your own mind. And what you said, Frankie. So like a lot of the things on my vision board, I wrote, like one of them I wrote when I was 12 years old, and 100% of it is real right now. And I still have it on there because it's like affirmation to me that that's a real thing. Like I made that happen because I read it. And like it's not something like I know these are not thoughts in someone else's head. I know it's not just like, oh, I read this little fairy tale in a book. It's I literally got a message and I put it down on paper and it became reality. But I mean, that was when I was 12 years old, so literally 10 years ago. So yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Real quick.
That's super inspiring, super cool.
Yeah, I love it. Michael, do you have any prayer or meditation practices that you do?
I don't know if I have like a certain practice, but since we're on the topic, I want to kind of like maybe I guess it is, but I'll share kind of like what I do, I guess. I'm not the best at meditating often, and I need to get better at it because every time I meditate, I feel amazing after. When I force myself to sit with my thoughts, it sounds weird, but like, you know, with so much dopamine nowadays, anytime you go on your phone, anytime, I mean, there's so much like rush out there. So slowing it down even for like 5 or 10 minutes is like, it's honestly pretty crazy. And so I need to get better at that. But I will tell you, visualization, something that I think Gemma just covered a lot on, but writing it down in like a vision board, I think that's huge. And I don't think it kind of like what Frankie said, it doesn't stop there, but there's something so huge about writing down what you want to do, pen to paper, not on your phone, but visualizing it, having that thought in your mind and taking it to pen and paper and writing it down and putting it up and just like reading it over and over and like visualizing like, how can I make this happen? How can I do this? And I know at the beginning of this year, I wrote down not New Year's resolutions, but just goals for the year of 2024. And I wrote like a spiritual goal, a financial goal, like a travel goal, like just like 5 or 6, 7, I think 7 categories. And having that on my vision board, it was like normally the first thing I saw right across corkboard, right across my bed. When I woke up, I'd look at it and it would like inspire me. And when I went to bed, I would like lay in my bed and I would think about it and I would visualize. And I know that was like so like it was awesome because it was very laid out and clear like what I want and where I'm headed. And I moved like a month ago, and so I don't have that board anymore. But I have the papers. Haven't looked at them in about a month, but I did look a month ago, and when I did, I was like very on track to what I had. And I hadn't looked on them. I hadn't looked at them in like 3 months because I was traveling all throughout the summer. And I looked and I was like, wow, this is kind of weird. I haven't looked at these, but yet like I'm like over like there's still work to be done. Yes, there's still a lot of work to be done, but there's like a lot of things I didn't realize I'd be this far ahead in. All I had to do was just like put my head down and put a little bit of work in. So I think writing it down, visualization, having that thought and then entertaining it, not letting those doubts get to it, just pen and paper and then saying, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. And just, and just meditating on that thought and just visualizing it is really where it all starts, and really just pinpointing and saying, what can I do with it? So
yeah, I love that. I love that you said like write it down, but like for me, I'm an insanely visual person. So In the sense of like I can imagine things in my head, like if I just close my eyes. I also have like picture perfect memory. So like there's a bunch of things that play into this. But for me, visual, either like grabbing a magazine, ripping a bunch of papers out, whatever. But going on Pinterest is a big thing for me. For the past 3 years, I've made a board and I have like 20, what's 3 years ago, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Looking back at the last 2 years, 100% of each board has been done. By the end of each year, for me, my year starts kind of right now. My scriptural aligned, lunar cycle aligned year is starting right now. But the Gregorian calendar starts in January, right? So I kind of make the board then. I give myself a lot of extra time to prepare. But last year, by the end of December, I had finished the one last thing on my board for that year within the last week. It was like within 3 days of that year ending. It was the most mind blowing thing. And with a friend, like I came here to Houston a year ago with like absolutely nobody. Like I absolutely knew nobody. And I finished the year with a group of incredible friends. And that was one of the things on my board. Like finish the year to have these experiences with a group of friends. And then the things that I put on my board for this year, there are very few things that are left that are not completed. And I'm like so thrilled because I have keeping those boards alive. I now have like incredible belief in my ability to make it happen. And I think that's also something that all three of these practices, especially putting pen to paper or having a visual representation of it, tangible representation of it, it builds incredible belief in yourself, incredible confidence in yourself, in creating beautiful things, in creating relationships, in creating a life with people that you love and you want to experience more of it, what you want to create, what you want to contribute to the world. I think the main thread through why should you practice any of these things is so that you can get clear on what you're here
Yeah.
to do as an individual. That's the end. That's literally the only thing we're here to do with this call, the topic of this call. But I want for this community to be able to fulfill that idea in as every time we meet, get more clear on what you're here to do. Get more clear on what your contribution to society is, what this world is, you know?
Yeah. I've got one thing real quick. And then I was just going to say there's something about writing it down or even like cutting it out and putting it up. Like I have something similar on, sounds funny, but on Instagram. Like when I see something I like, I save it. I don't save that many things, but I'll save things that I like really like. And it makes it very clear because if you don't have like a GPS or some type of tracking of where you're going, you're kind of all over the place. And I think, at least for me, I have so many thoughts every day. I have to have something that keeps them all together. And when you put it out, it's official. It's like signing something. When you put it up or when you put it on a paper or when you write it down, it becomes official. It's no longer a thought. It becomes real. It's live. It's on paper. And when it's on paper, you can do, I mean, you can either do it or you can sit back and not do it, but at least it's there. So I think visualization is a huge underrated tool.
It's also so
But,
fun.
no, yeah, it really is too, because you kind of like pick apart things that you like, and then over time you start realizing your life becomes that. It's so weird how it works because I'll save things and I'll be like, this is really cool, and I'll save it and I'll forget about it, and then I'll realize down the line this is like who I am now. I am what I liked. You know what I mean? Like it sounds weird, but
Yeah,
even
you're developing your taste at the end of
yeah,
the day. And I
so
think things like meditation and prayer keep us attuned to the taste that's like within us. The whole thing of everybody is special, everybody's individual, there's no one like you. That only happens when you develop your taste. Like I don't like super salty foods. I don't like super spicy foods. Like that's just one sense. You have all these senses and there's only you to experience them. And there's a million ways to attune them, but when you decide you like something, get the best you possibly can at that one thing that you like and make it super clear and
yeah,
distinct about you, you know? And that's the beautiful thing about having high performing individuals in your lives is because every single one of those people is really clear about what they want to do or what they want to achieve. If y'all watched
yeah,
the or saw anything about the Olympia this past weekend, like the absolute legendary things that went down this weekend about the awards that were won, it's so inspiring to me to see people at the highest level doing things like they got awards that no one else in the world will ever receive. And because they're literally the best in the world, they made one mission for their entire lives, and that's what they're pursuing. And in so many ways, we can experience that, and they can be self-validated. But it's beautiful when we actually set our mind on something. And these practices can help us stay on that track.
Yeah.
We're
probably short on time.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for real quick. I guess it's kind of late right now, but any thoughts or any podcast or I guess like Zoom questions, you can text either of us or DM us, but we want to hear y'all's feedback. And seriously, thank y'all for joining in. I hope you guys were able to learn something, but seriously, text us y'all's feedback. So
it's good to see you guys.
Perfect. Thank you guys for an awesome call. This was great.
Take care. Hey, I love your Instagram, Frankie.
Thank you. Likewise, man. That's right. It's awesome.
Thank you. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Text us y'all's input. Take care, guys.
All right. See ya.
Bye.